Hi everyone, my name is Delisia Inge, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how I planned my DIY wedding, and just give you a few tips on how to best plan for your DIY wedding. So on August 16th of 2018, I was engaged to my best friend, Julius Inge. So definitely it was one of the best days of my life. But after about 5 minutes of excitement, I immediately started thinking, oh my God, gotta start planning. Oh, I'm so ready. And we had already kind of talked about some dates. So we had gone through every month and we tried to avoid like birthdays, our kids' birthdays, any major like holidays. So that took us all the way until September of 2019. So now we are past September 2019 and my wedding has happened and it was an absolute success. Like everything went off without a hitch. And that was amazing considering that I planned every aspect of it myself, starting from actually the moment that he asked me to marry him. So I just want to go through some of the things that I did that I thought were helpful as I planned my wedding. And I had promised to do a blog because people kept asking me questions about, how I did this, what I was going to do, and so forth. So I will say I am not a wedding planner. Although many people have said I should become one after attending my wedding, but I am not a wedding planner. So if you don't feel comfortable doing your own wedding, I do recommend reaching out to some professional who can actually give you the right advice. But I'll just tell you what worked for me. This was the first wedding that I'd ever planned. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did know like what colors I wanted. And I knew kind of some of the details. We knew we wanted an open bar. We knew we wanted a dance floor. We knew the simple things. But it was a matter of now putting details around all of those things that we wanted. And I also say this, that I had absolutely no stress during this process either. And it was probably because, and you're probably thinking, well, you had a whole year to plan. Well, that was part of the process. I didn't want to do it immediately because I knew I wanted to do it right. And I knew that the things that we wanted for the wedding was going to take some time to plan. So that would lead me to my first tip, is to be realistic. Be realistic in your timing, be realistic in your budget, and keep in mind that everything will not be perfect. And that's actually fine that it's not perfect. There will be something that goes wrong, but you have to have that mindset of you're not going to let it ruin your day. You can't get all emotionally out of whack because, oh my God, this didn't happen. Oh my God, oh, why is that way? And I'll say there was one imperfection, there probably more in my wedding that I did notice, but I had done my own. I'd ordered the little chair things that go on the back of the chairs, and I had made the little things that you put around them, little rings, little rhinestone rings. And instead of making 100 of them, I only made 50. So there were some chairs that had them, some chairs that didn't. But you know what? I noticed it when I walked into the venue and I saw it, but I did not get bent out of shape about it. It's just like, oh, well, if anybody notices, that's on them because they shouldn't be paying attention to that anyway. So, but those kind of things will happen. But just realize that it's not going to be everything is not going to be perfect. Although at the end of the day, you will say, oh my God, that was the most perfect day. That was the most perfect thing that could happen. So first tip, be realistic. Realistic in your budget, realistic in your timing, realistic in knowing that everything is not going to be perfect. My second tip is choose an item to splurge on. So of course you want to make a budget, but just pick one item that you feel like, you know what, if I go over budget on this, I'm perfectly fine with it. So it could be your dress. It could be, the venue is kind of, that's one of those things. That's probably your most expensive expense. So going over budget on that may be way over budget, but I'm talking about the small things that you may want to have, but it may be a little bit out of your budget. So for me, it was the photo booth. I knew the photo booth that I wanted, and I wanted to have this experience for my guests. So I chose the Magic Mirror photo booth, and it's the one that it does it from the top to bottom, and it's just really, really cool. And when I saw it, I was like, you know what, I want that one, and I'm gonna get it. I don't care how much it costs. That's the one I want. So that was the one thing that I did splurge on. Picking that one thing kind of relieves a little stress, because you're gonna be thinking about money and cost the whole time. So to feel like you have one thing that you can splurge on and it doesn't matter, it kind of gives you that feeling of, I was a bad girl and I spent more money than I should have. But it's really, it was already budgeted in that you were going to splurge on one thing. So for tip number 3, I recommend that you attend all of the wedding expos that are in your area. These are really great for getting a lot of free stuff, and we love free, right? Well, at least I know I do. So you go there, you get a lot of ideas, you sign up for these little raffles, you win stuff, you get samples of stuff, and you find, you get discounts on things. So that photo booth that I talked about, the company was there at one of the wedding expos, and they offered a discount if you booked within a certain period of time. Because I was still splurging, I had gone, this was probably a year before the wedding, and I hadn't completely decided that was what I wanted. I emailed the owner of the company and I said, hey, I know it's beyond this date, but can you still honor this? I think it was like a $300 discount. And he said, absolutely. So I even saved on the one thing that I splurged on. But back to the wedding expos, they're great for ideas on dresses, your cake, your decorations, DJ, photographer. If you don't already have in mind who you want or what you want to do, the wedding expos are great for that. I'll also say that I did win one of those little boudoir photo shoots, which I never, ever, ever would have done had I not won it. And it was free. So I did get the opportunity to do that because of the wedding expo. Wedding expos are definitely a must. You can check the internet, find out, just Google the area that you're in, and see what expos. And it's good to go even if you're a year out, 2 years out of before your wedding. It's okay to go even up until 3 months or so. I've seen people win their wedding rings. There was a jeweler there, and they would raffle off an opportunity to win your wedding bands. So just take a chance, go get free stuff, eat free cake, free food, all that good stuff. Tip number 4, you definitely have to use websites like Pinterest and Etsy to get ideas for what you want. So if you know what your colors are, the first thing I did, I Googled in Tiffany blue and silver weddings, and all these different ideas came up for bouquets and for the centerpieces and all the different ideas and things that I could use for Tiffany blue and silver weddings. And then I just went from there. I'm like, okay, I see these, I want this vase with these little floating beads and these flowers. And I recreated it from there. For those, I used a lot of places like Michael's and Joann Fabrics and AC Moore. There's not a Hobby Lobby in my area, which there were, but places like those, you can definitely get those kind of things for free. The flowers were a bit expensive for the colors that I wanted, so I decided, let's have a spray paint party. So I invited a lot of my girls over. We spray painted the flowers, the colors that I wanted. We actually spray painted white flowers and, made them beautiful. So you have to come up with creative things like that, which again, I got all of my ideas from Pinterest or Etsy. Even the invitations, I created my own invitations based off of something that I saw on Pinterest. So I made my programs for the reception as well as for the ceremony based on what I saw on Pinterest. So definitely use those websites as a starting point for those things that you want to create on your own. Tip 5, sign up for a wedding website. So I personally used theknot.com. It was really good for helping me to keep organized as to what I should do by when, to keep track of my budget, keep track of my guest list. I could even enter my guest list and send the invitations out via email if I wanted, but they could also RSVP, and I could keep a list of all the RSVPs on that website. So it's a really good place to become organized. You could also do your registry on the website. So there are others outside of the Knot. I think there's Zola.com is another one, Wedding Wire, maybe. So just check those out and figure out which one works best for you. Tip number 6, it is definitely okay to hire your family and friends to help you. I'll just say in my case, I had a coworker who did photography on the side. I looked at his work. Hey, he was great. I hired him. And I knew I could continue to hold him accountable because I worked with him every day. So I could see him. I would see him and say, hey, what's going on? Where's that contract? When do I get my pictures? So he knew that I would bug him. I also used my daughter's friends. I have one who's a videographer. She did an excellent job with doing the videography for my wedding. She also has a friend who's a singer, so she sang at my wedding. I have a coworker who's a DJ, so he DJed for my wedding. So it's okay to use those people if you feel comfortable, and also if they're not people who you actually want to, and this may sound rude, but if you don't care if they enjoy themselves at your wedding, because they'll be working. So it's okay, and a lot of times they may offer you a discount. They may ask you to, name your own price, but don't go into it expecting that they're going to give you the hookup, because that's, it's their business. So none of them, I actually went in saying, hey, so you think I can get that family discount? No, I just asked them how much they would charge me, and then that's what I would pay them. Again, they're people that who do some of the things that you need. Feel free to reach out to them and ask them if they would be willing, and that they would want to do a good job because you have a relationship with them already, and they want to make sure that you're happy. And so my last tip number 7, order online. So I did a lot of shopping online with all the things that I bought, with the flowers, with the decorations, my hairpiece, a lot of the things I bought online. And the key to buying online is using those cash back apps like Rakuten or Honey, who give you money back when you spend. I think I got back at least $300 or so just from those 2 websites alone from ordering online, because a lot of the places that I ordered from actually had money back. I even did, like, from Walgreens, I printed posters for my for my wedding. So I got money back from Walgreens. I got money back from Michael's and Joann's. I mean, I would even go to the store to see if they had it, order it while I'm in the store, and then walk out and expect my package in the next couple days. So that was just a lot easier, saved a lot of money, and you didn't have to worry about running out to the store all the time. Those are my tips, and I hope that it was helpful and offered you some good tips to help you get started, and even to push through and pass through some of the obstacles that you may have. So if nothing else, I think there's some really good money saving tips here, which was really one of my biggest things, because I wanted a debt-free wedding, which I was able to do. I didn't use any credit cards. Everything that I did was paid for in cash, because for one, I was realistic with my budget, and I knew what I could afford. And I knew that I didn't want to owe anyone once it was over. So I used a lot of these money saving tips to help me stay within budget, so that I can stay within my goal of cash only, debt free wedding. Right, so if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Or if you have any ideas that you've used for planning your DIY wedding, please, I'm more than happy to hear them and would love to know what it is that you've done to plan your wedding.